you're such an inspiring person. You've made some amazing changes, and you're really going through change again. And I think you're going to be able to help our listeners, because we all get to that stage where we have to change in life. Everything just turns around and you go, why am I still doing the same thing I was doing 20 years ago? And you're at that stage and you're making this huge leap. So welcome. So tell me more about you.
Well, I had quite a few career changes. Isn't it funny how we first go for what we do as work? What about what we love doing? That's what we have to do. Yeah, true. We go to what, and our work doesn't define us anyway for who we are. So no. Yeah, so I should start by saying I'm a mother of two grown up boys now, 18 and 20. I've been a single mum, so raised them, and I read a great quote the other day that I can't remember the exact words, but it talked about how when our children leave home, we've done something right if they can leave home and to be able to cope, and have those life skills. And it actually turned it completely away and made me think I've actually done a good job, because they're confident enough to leave home. Well, one's left home, one's working in the mines as of next week, so I'm going, and at such a young age, I think, well, I've actually done something right. So
absolutely. And for the listeners, you're a single mum, raised these kids on your own, so you've done a brilliant job.
Yeah, so my business actually evolved from my eldest son. I previously was a dental nurse, grew up on Sydney's northern beaches, dental nurse, travelled overseas, worked in London in some of the dental surgeries there, and travelled around Europe with some friends, and sort of came back to Sydney and had those itchy feet again, probably about a year later, so in my early 20s, and moved to the Sunshine Coast. So up and moved. My dad drove up with me in my car, and their plan was to retire up here. They're still not here. 20, 30 years later, I'm still waiting for them. So I made the move before they did, and then they didn't end up coming. So, but I made a life here, and was dental nursing here, and actually started dental nursing in the school vans, the dental vans. And then I went, I actually really love working with kids. So that moved me into childcare then. So that was sort of my little transition from the dental, working with the kids, into childcare. And it worked perfect, because being a single mum with two little boys, I ended up working at their daycare. Did teacher's aid as well. So I've done lots of things, and that just worked perfect because they were there. And but my eldest was struggling with transition from daycare to school. Yes. And that's when I looked for more a holistic approach to how I could help him. He was very anxious, lots of meltdowns for me, but very quiet, reserved for everyone else. So yeah, it was a challenge, and there really wasn't anything around. So then my next transition from work was I came across a meditation course. And I'd done meditation growing up because my dad was very much into it. So sort of did it through my teens, probably lost it a bit because of the rebellion stage. And well, I'm not doing what my dad did. He still meditates to this day too. So that was my first introduction to it. And then my eldest son was struggling. So I think I went to a few psychologists, and because he was quiet, he wasn't going to talk to anyone. So there was, and then I did my meditation course and started to put a little program together for children transitioning from daycare to school, to give them those tools. And he, in Queensland, prep wasn't brought in. I'm not sure about the other states, but so he didn't actually go to preschool. So he went from daycare straight to grade 1, and it was just too much for him. He had no coping skills, social skills. Yep. He liked to have one friend, but was completely overwhelmed by all the kids at the school, and spent the whole time looking for his teacher, who was just a beautiful teacher he could have had. We're still in contact with her now, which is lovely. And that's when I went, there's got to be something else. So through my meditation training, I was able to see what he needed. Like I learned that he was in fight or flight and sort of what that did to the body and how he couldn't help himself. And kids need, like, we want kids to self-regulate, but they need to co-regulate first with a caring adult. So whether that's the childcare worker or the teacher or the parent or the grandparents, we have to actually teach kids. So we have to co-regulate with them. So if we're calm, they're calm. And I learned that because I wasn't very calm for quite a few years when he had his little meltdowns. So we just bounced off each other. Like there was no coping strategy for me too. And like other mums, like if you don't know, you don't know. And then the more we get wound up, the more they get wound up. So so I put a little program and taught him a few little things, and I'd stayed in childcare for a while and then ended up working for the meditation college that I did my training through. So it's all just evolved and evolved and evolved, and moved from left the daycare because I was able to go to the college, was running some adult classes, and everything sort of just blended in. I was teaching kids mindfulness, but I always got asked about yoga, because I think people assume yoga is your mindfulness and meditation. Well, you can do your mindfulness meditation without the yoga, but for the kids, the movement's important. So I did my kids yoga training, and then I took the little program that, because I'd worked in childcare, it was easy for me to slot into childcare with my business. So I took the little program that I put together for my son into a few daycares and ran it as a 6-week program and turned 4 for the kindy rooms. So they learnt those little tools like mindfulness and affirmations and movement and little things they could use to empower themselves as they went into school. So it's all.
So that was a huge leap of faith, going from working for a wage, which you know that you've got coming in, and you've got 2 kids and rent or a mortgage or something, you've got house payments you've got to make, and doing that on your own and going, yep, I'm going to work for myself in my own business. That was massive.
Yes, it was. And it's interesting you said that, because my dad and mum, or my dad being very traditional, were like, how can you leave a secure job to be, well, I actually was contracted by the college too. So that was, I had to get my ABN and everything. And then when I left them, because I knew that was hours, like 4 days a week, I was working to then be able to support myself through classes and getting bookings and stuff. So it was I don't know, I probably did sometimes go, oh my God, what am I doing? But, it's just I just followed my heart and, really into my intuition. That was what I was meant to be doing. And I think these days, even with my boys, I've said, do what you love. Like, don't wait till you're 40, to actually do what you love.
Yes.
So, that was I think that's a big lesson for anyone, just not, and there's so much money in the world and abundance. It comes if you truly believe that it's yours, rather than looking at a job that's going to create a lot of income, but you hate it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, very. Do you think women don't tend to do what they love? They just tend to do what they've been told to do and what society thinks they do? Do you think this is a female thing?
Oh, yeah, I think so. And I think, well, I suppose, we, as you said, like we go, into marriages, or even if we don't get married, and in partnerships and kids. And I think we do so much to please everyone else that, and if it's, maybe not following their true dreams and goals, I think so. And I think until later in life. But
I was going to say, do you think maturity brings that out?
So, or when all of a sudden you go, no, I want to do what I want to do. And as women and nurture, we do everything for everyone else, and it's usually ourselves that are left. When everyone else is left home, it's like, okay, what should I do now? So, it'd be nice to do your whole life doing what you love, wouldn't you? Although I loved all my careers, but I knew it was time to leave. I knew it was time to finish the dental, and And that was more, I didn't choose to be a dental nurse because I was like, oh my God, I want to be a dental nurse. It was, I still remember the day sitting down with my mum with the newspaper. Remember when the jobs were in the newspaper?
Oh,
And
yeah.
going through, like, what do you think you want to do? And I went to year 12 at school in New South Wales, but I didn't want to go to uni. But interesting enough, I actually did go to do childcare, but they had like so many intakes and I didn't get in. So it's interesting that, 20 years later, or however long, probably not that long, 10 years later, I ended up going into childcare. So I obviously knew back then it was something that I wanted to do, but chose the dental nurse because there was lots of dental nursing jobs. But and it took me overseas. I was able to travel and work. So it was the right career or choice at that time.
Yeah. No, that's a great leap of faith. And I think it is something that we need to be that little bit older and have a little bit more wisdom. Or is it confidence that we get as we're getting older too?
Yes.
And you actually think, maybe I can do that. Look, it took me leaving a marriage before I could work out who I was at all. So bloody hell, I was 50 before I could go, what do I like and what do I want? And actually go for it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's, a lot of women are all sort of, I don't know, we're all tarred with the same brush.
I think we get so wrapped up in the roles, of being the daughter and then the sister and the friend and then the partner, then the wife, get married, and then the mother, and then all of a sudden you go, who actually am I? And interesting enough, my latest training that I've done, I'm about to start some classes next year, is called The Art of Feminine Presence by Rachel Jane Groover, and it's all about that. It's all going, who am I? And what am I to be here for, and to drop all those roles and really step, because I think a lot, and I know I lost comfort. Like, I'd always been sort of quieter child. Like, I've had to work on my confidence and being seen and heard, and I think once we get wrapped up in those roles, we lose that authentic self, and we're all different. We all have different personality and types, but even the quiet and shy people can find their voice.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So do you need someone to mentor you through to make each step, or have you just got a great self-drive within yourself as well?
I have done everything on my own, even raised the kids, up until about a month ago, and I actually decided to get a business coach.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have, only because I always thought, like, I don't mind doing everything, but it was that time where I thought, no, I just need a little bit of, and probably a bit of company, because obviously being also in your own business, although I go into a lot of daycares and do yoga, and I teach other classes, and I'm always around people, but when it comes to that decision making, I've always done it myself, and I think I've always done it quite well. But sometimes I think and I think I allow myself to say, okay, it's okay to ask for some help. I don't have to do everything myself. Yeah. Even in the home, I do everything, and I've actually just recently reached out to a tradesman to come and do a couple of jobs that I think I don't want to do those anymore. I want someone to help me. So it's taken me nearly 50 years to ask for help too. So it's a good lesson. Ask for help, especially if it's there. But, definitely having the drive, and I think that comes back to what you like. If you love it, you're going to put the effort in, and and be inspired, and whereas when things are sluggish, and it's like those, when people say Mondayitis, because obviously they're not liking what they do if they feel that, rather than not every day we want to spring out of bed, we might want to sleep in, but most of the time. And that's interesting that you've asked that, because I'm sort of transitioning my businesses. I'm running 2 separate businesses, and I'm bringing it all together, and doing all the classes moving into 22, that I really love and you know, are inspired to do and inspire that little bit of change coming through, which everything's always changing, everything's energy, everything's moving. So when we get stuck sometimes, I think that's when we lose that inspiration and that motivation. So yeah, back to the business coach, and that's why I thought, oh, I might just have, and it's been wonderful. She's already got me motivated, so it's really good.
It can be really handy to have someone to bounce ideas off, because that's one of the things, you know, I come up with these ideas, but I've got no one to bounce them off. So I just tend to run down rabbit holes sometimes. And I think, you know, I wish I had someone that says, you know, Lorraine, that's a shocking idea. It's not going to work, you know, and it's like, yeah. And then other times, you know, my ideas are so great and they work brilliantly. But yeah, having that person to bounce off can be so important.
Yeah, and I think like to get it out of your head too, like what you said, especially if you're the type of person that has, like I have lots of ideas and I'm really good at writing lists, but the lists keep getting more and more and more and stuff on them. And I think I really need to start I need to start one thing at a time. So I think sometimes having someone to say, no, stay on track, start with this. And yeah, that even can be a family or friend as well. You know, I've always thrown ideas to my friends as well, but it's nice to get a business, you know, like ideas as well as, and usually we go the opposite to what the friends and family say anyway, don't we?
Sometimes.
You go, oh, well, I was thinking the other way. So I'm excited to offer these new classes coming up, and it's all like what you do and talking with women. It's that, you know, transitioning from, like we were talking about, the different stages of life, and now my kids are off and doing their own thing, and I think, you know, oh, well, now I can do all this stuff I love, whereas I probably should have already been doing it more. We sort of don't have to wait till everyone leaves home to really enjoy what we like.
How have you gone from having a full vibrant household to, oh, there's no one home except you?
I bought a dog.
Great strategy.
I know. And then I'm like, I've just gone back to the same thing. Having a young dog is no different to having young children at home. No, at least I can leave her at home on her own. It was hard at first because my youngest left home first. So I thought he would be at home for, you know, at least another 5 years. So, but, you know, he's got a lovely girlfriend and family, and they support him, and he's only 2 hours away, and he got himself an apprenticeship, which is amazing. So he's done and bought himself, you know, a great car, full drive thing. And so I probably did struggle it was that attachment, you know, of being, felt like I wasn't needed anymore. And that's when I read those great quotes too. You know, our children aren't ours to keep. No. We give them the tools to be able to go out into the world and use what we've given them, and they find their own different ways on their own. And it's like I was talking about, that co-regulation. You know, we do that through the primary school years, and then they move into the adult years and the teenage years, and they have to almost, you know, we can guide them, but they need to find their own way. And I was probably I wouldn't have said I was an umbrella parent, but I was a bit of a protector. But I think all my careers I've been in have all been that nurturing and that looking after, and so it was a challenge to be able to separate that too. And it's hard, but they're always there. You can always pick up the, you know, these days we've got what we're doing and all FaceTime, so it's just not like just having to pick up the phone.
Absolutely.
My eldest son, he'll be week on, week off, so I get the, you know, my freedom and that. Well, I've already got my freedom, but I get that week, and then he'll be back for a week. So until he decides to come out. So and I've got a dog keeps me busy.
Yes. Yeah.
Great company. Great company.
Yep. Yeah. I have a cat. Yeah. Absolute pain in the ass, but my best friend.
I got a cat as well, so cats are a lot easier than dogs, I will say that. But yeah, cats are funny. I love how they love you 1 minute and hate you the next.
Oh yeah. So how do you manage the isolation and, because working from home and then the kids move out, it's isolated,
know. Well, I've got a nice group of friends, and I met a lot of them. I joined the meetup groups. It's like a social. I assume you probably have that way. Yeah.
Yes.
Get to go, and that was good because we went on bushwalks, and I had to make myself, and that's like a women too on their own. Like it's that confidence to be able to go into a situation like that, know no one, and just turn up. But I find I'm quite, and I've worked on it. I find it quite easy to speak to people in small groups. I quite like small groups more than, I can go into big groups. But yeah, so that's keeping myself busy. I walk every day, and that's what the dog was great too, because that made me go. Like I used to take her to the dog park, I don't anymore, but that was quite social. So I quite enjoyed like taking the dog out and walking her to the coffee shop and getting out like that too. So they're definitely great like that. And there's so many social groups out there, and I think and everyone's so accepting, and everyone's usually in the same situation as you are when you join anyway. People join because they want more to friendships, or they want to be able to get out and do more. So at one stage, everyone in those groups was in that first time where you go, oh my goodness. But yeah, I've met some, it's been a couple of years, but met some really lovely friends. So able to make, and I was always one too that I would like make plans and I don't want to go now, I just want to stay home. But yeah, you got to push yourself sometimes to get out. So
yeah, I hear you very much. I'm really resonating with that. It's like, yeah, I need to go out. I need to go out.
Do it. Yeah, I found that little thought of, oh, I don't want to go, I just want to stay home, that slowly sort of goes to the background because you have fun and it's nice to get out and meet new people. Yeah, so that's sort of, I don't get that as much now as I just want to stay home. Yeah.
So do you have a timetable that you schedule, me time, work time, stuff? Because a lot of your classes would be at night time as well.
Yeah. So I have a little planner, and because now I'm planning for the next year. So I've already set out the days that I want to work, and when I would go, because I go to the gym as well. So I joined, that's only fairly new because I teach yoga. I thought, I don't want to do any other exercise, but I'm quite enjoying doing something different. So I go to a couple of the classes, and that's social too. My neighbor actually goes, so we go together. So that's nice. And I quite like the classes on some days. So I made sure, and even when I'm planning my classes for next year, I'm making sure that I put those things in first. So when I want to go to the gym, if I want to do a social outing on the weekends, I've actually decided to give myself a day off through the week, which is not really a day off because, being in business, it'll be like my admin day but it's not, I don't have any committed classes on that day. So yeah, I think it's very important to put your own things in first. Whether I want to go out on the weekend, I want to go to the gym, and I walk the dog every morning. So that's just what I put that in there because I do it anyway. Because I think we forget to put ourselves first, and especially in business or running a family. Even when the kids were little, you do or when they're running sports and stuff, being a taxi. So and that's what I love about my women's classes. I run a class on a Sunday, like once a month, and I get a lot of mums come because they just love that time for themselves, that to put that time aside, to be able to say, no, this is my time, I'm going to spend time doing some yoga or meditation or
Do you do it as a whole day affair, or is it just a Sunday morning, afternoon? Or?
The afternoon, so because I have my regular classes, but I do it's like a 2 hour Sunday afternoon, and we have usually a theme around it. If it was on the moon, we would have a little chat about that, and then do some meditation and just some gentle yoga. You don't want too much on a Sunday afternoon, but enough to relax the body and the mind, and that's why I'm excited about my new classes, the art and presence. I'll probably do some half-day workshops as well, because it's nice to go and spend that, or even a day retreat. I know I go and I do that too. I actually went on one on Wednesday night with one of my friends that's a yoga teacher. I went off and be a student, and I like to go to retreats and treat myself, stuff like that. So I think even when we're teaching it, it's good to go and be a student and enjoy the other side of it.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Yeah, I must admit, I've taken on a women's circle and gone from being participant to now being the leader of it. So I have to organize everything, and all of a sudden the enjoyment level has gone whoop down. It's like I don't get to just go and go, oh. I have to be worrying about, okay, has everyone had a turn? Has everyone said too much? What's happening? What are we doing? Have we spent too much time on this? It's like, oh, it's totally changed the dynamics within me.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
So you need to find one to go to.
Yes, I think I do now.
Yeah, they're great. I used to run a women's circle as well, and I'll probably bring that back in with this new training, because it's just going to be such a beautiful blend of the meditation and the practices, the art of feminine presence. The practices just bring us back to our authentic self, and really to be able to look after our energy and be able to be seen and heard more, which I've struggled, like as I mentioned, I like small groups, so I've struggled over the time to, when you walk into a room full of people and you feel like every eye's on you, but it's not. And that's what these practices, they teach, women how to be able to enter that room and feel confident and not worry what other people are thinking. I think that's our biggest lesson, isn't it?
So since you've been studying that, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about you? What did you really walk out and go, oh, I get it?
That I diffuse my energy everywhere. I think, gosh, I eat healthy, I exercise, I yoga. Why am I so tired? And it's all about that so we talk about having this light globe around us, but it's not a protection from what can't get in. It's been able to maintain our own energy and when we do give it out, to be able to bring it back too. So because we're giving and rather than receiving, so even within our own energy we can so that's been a big lesson. And I think also to when we are tired, to notice that the body's trying to tell us something, and that we need to slow down, and we need to either go for a walk. I was quite a little bit tired yesterday because I've just come to the end of all my classes, and I went for a walk and I felt great after that. So and I thought, okay, put this down. I was on the computer and I thought, just go for a 10-minute walk and bring the energy back. And for me was a big one. Learn a lot about that and what I'm doing to lose it.
Yeah. And I think you hit something on the head before too, when you talk about receiving. A lot of women have struggles receiving.
Yeah, that's a big practice, that appreciation as well, and being able to, give, and I think give compliments as well as receive, receive compliments and to receive exactly what I talked about before, receive help. Like, even though I'm asking for it, I'm receiving it when I ask for that help, because whereas I'm giving, so allow someone else to bring something to me and to be open to receive that. And, a lot of, and especially mums too, when they're offered help, no, I can do it all. And then obviously the universe is saying someone's offering you help. So being open to receive too, you know.
Yeah. And one of the things I also noticed was, someone would say to me, "Oh, that's a really nice top. You look great today." You go, "Oh, it's only Target, it's only," you know.
Yeah. Rather than
yeah, I won't accept that, it's only a crap top,
yeah.
So I can't look nice, it's like, nah. And you throw it back in their face, basically, and they're saying, "Well, it does look nice." And you're going, no, it's only a cheap one.
Yeah, it's interesting how we do that, isn't it? Rather than just saying thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we do that in the appreciation, is being able to hear someone tell you that, you have a beautiful top, or you have beautiful energy, or your eyes are sparkling. And I think it tends to make us go, oh gosh, like, rather than be open to it and thank you. And that's one of the practices, whereas even just for the women to sit there and take it in without even having to say thank you, just open that to receive those. Need that. And it's important to do it to ourselves as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, because we tend to look in the mirror and all we can see is, the bits of fat here and the bits hanging off there, and we don't look at ourselves and go, yeah, you really, what an amazing person you are. We don't do it.
Yeah. And our achievements as well, isn't it? Like what we have achieved.
Yeah.
Even if we've got through a bad day with the baby, we still achieved that at the end of the day, didn't we? Whereas we tend to think, that brings back memories, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing too, for young mums to ask for help.
Yes.
We're not invincible. Yeah. We think we are. We like to think we are, but ask for help. And I think not be ashamed of it. I just thought about a story my mum was telling me. She had a young family living across the road, and they had a new baby, and for days mum could just hear the baby crying and crying and crying. So she actually went over and said, "Do you need some help?" And like the mum just bursted into tears because she didn't have family. We don't live near family now. And that just went in my head. So, and then they became good friends after that. So that was nice. Where they were, she was a young mum, and I had a colic reflux baby, so I could totally understand. And to be able to have that. I think about that too, when you see parents in supermarkets struggling. I've often asked but then some won't receive that help, if they need it. If the child's shucking a tantrum, do you need a bit of help? No. So whereas I would be like, yes, can you take this child from me?
My daughter,
kindness, isn't it? Kindness.
My daughter has a baby very similar to that. And she said, "I am sick and tired of people walking up and saying to me, your baby needs to be fed." And they say, "I wish they'd just look in the pram and see how fat the baby is to know that I do know how to feed it. Doesn't need a feed."
People are too quick to judge, aren't they? Rather than saying, "Do you need some help? Oh, do you need some help?" Yeah. Maybe we're learning a bit more too, with everything that's gone on the last 2 years. Maybe moving into this new year, a bit more kindness, isn't it? A bit more understanding we need.
I hope so, but she's not finding that, so it would be nice.
Hopefully someone next time. Like my mum. Hear the baby cry. Do you need some help, or do you just need a hug?
Just needing a hug. That would be probably all these women would really want, isn't it?
I know I could have done with that. I didn't have my family here, that in New South Wales, and my boy's dad was around, but not in that every day, when you've got little kids. And the boys were like 1 and 3 when I separated, so they were still pretty young. So but we get there. I know, and I think that's it, like looking back on what we achieved, we forget to do that too, don't we? And go, gosh, I've actually done a lot. When I was talking, gosh, I've oh, I should be so proud of myself. Yeah, I think women forget to do
Yeah.
that too. They go through those roles and forget.
Yeah.
And you looked at each role and what you've achieved in those roles. Probably a lot more than what we realize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. And I think that's a woman thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We,
and then we also want that recognition from other people first, don't we? Whereas we need to do it for ourselves
yeah.
first. Mm.
Do you know, one of the things that I've found the hardest is actually work out what I want and allowing myself to want. And when I've been asked, what do you desire? I've gone, whoa, I don't know. Yeah. Is that a woman thing too? Do you find that with your clients?
Yeah, and interesting. I was actually talking to my ladies last night in my yoga class, and we were talking about that. There's so much also around about manifesting and what are your goals, what are your purposes, what are your dreams. But I was saying to them, we really need, and when we get that, like what you said, and you go, I don't know. I think the most important thing is like, how do we want to feel? Do I want to be more energetic next year? Do I want to have more freedom? I want to be more inspired? And I think once we can get into the feelings of what we want to, how we want to feel, then we can bring all those other little bits in. So freedom's always been a big one with me, and I have a little giggle then, because when my son did leave home when he was 17, I thought, oh my God, freedom was one of my words, and he's gone already. It was my freedom, not yours. No. Yeah, so I always usually try to pick a word for the year, but I've had freedom for the last, I think next year will be inspire, and because that's way my business is moving. So I wanted freedom within my business and my life this year, and I definitely got that with one son moving home, and another, even with the lockdowns, not that we had anything like you guys, but obviously all my classes stopped being yoga and going into daycare centers, and it opened up that freedom for me to then I used to teach a lot of after school yoga, and the first big lockdown, I just didn't get the numbers back after that. And I went, well, that's okay. And I think that's it too, being able to say, well, that's okay. It's opened up space for something else will come in. So
yes.
Yeah. So I think sometimes we're too quick to jump to like, what do I want? Well, rather than how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel next year? Or how do I want to feel in my friendships or my relationships or my business? And then, all the other little, I think the other goals and that will start to come in. Because if I want to feel inspired next year, well, obviously I'm going to work hard on my classes and that to inspire the women that I want to inspire. So that will inspire me and inspire them. So so definitely starting with the feeling first, especially when we think, well, what do I want? I don't know what I want, but how do I want to feel? I want to feel happy, joyful. So, and then if I want to feel loved, well, then you can go, well, what do I need to do to feel loved? So, or abundant. And then we can look at abundance just not in money and material things, but there's abundance of everything. Like even driving, we can look at the abundance of trees everywhere. So there's always, although we might not have much money in our bank account, there's abundance of stuff everywhere. Yeah. And then that helps to bring the abundance in once we know that gratitude is one of the biggest things to help bring other things in. But yeah, it's a nice way to look at abundance of friendships, abundance of trees, abundance of flowers maybe in your garden, or then open up the fridge, you might have abundance of food in there. Whereas we tend to go abundance, I'm not abundant because I don't have all the material things I might want, but we can be abundance in other ways, which is probably more important anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So you talked about gratitude. Do you have a gratitude practice that you perform every day, or how do you go with gratitude?
Yeah. So I've always been a big gratitude diaries, and I write and then, you know, then it might phase out a bit, and then there's apps so you can get, but it's good to actually physically write it. But then, you know, not everyone wants to do their gratitude like that. So I actually use, it's a funny one actually, in the shower, because we have a shower every day. So when I'm in the shower, I might run through about the things that I'm grateful for that day. Or I like to also use it, which is probably more a setting intentions, but it's still for how my day might go. So I'm projecting that out before the day starts. So if we can start on that positive, you know, being grateful for what we have, but I might think about how I want the day to go. So I might be grateful for a smooth day in my classes, or grateful for, you know, other things I might be working on before I actually have it. So that's because the subconscious mind doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So that's why affirmations are great too, because we're reprogramming any negative self-talk to saying I'm abundant rather than I don't have much. So yeah, so gratitude, definitely. I teach one of my favorite, I do a lot of, well, not so many now, but a lot of school holiday workshops with the kids, and I always would do a gratitude one. So we would practice gratitude for our breath and our body, and then we do yoga, and then I would we'd make a gratitude jar. I did have one here somewhere. I'm sure it might be packed away. And they would make, I'd have like a glass jar, and then they would decorate it. We'd put all positive words around it. So this is something simple that you could even do at home. Anyone can do it at home. And then I go through what gratitude means for them. So usually in the younger kids, it's more explaining to them what we're thankful for. And you know, kids these days, I think they might work on a lot in schools and maybe in families too, because usually the majority do understand what it means to be grateful, which I think is great. Yeah, and then we'll do a little jar, and then we will talk about things they might write down at the end of the day that they're grateful for, then they put it in their jar. And then if they're having not such a good day, they can pull one out and read what they were grateful for. Right. So it's a nice one to do with the family too. You can do it as a family, or for the older, because I do some girls groups, we would do a gratitude journal, and have a little book, and then they could decorate it and they could write in what they're grateful for. Yeah. It's one of those ones that good little practice to get into. Helps us on those days when we're not feeling so grateful, that there's always something to be grateful for. Yeah. Simple, isn't it? Simple. And even if we don't want to write it, just thinking about it. I've got like an app on my phone that I don't really use anymore, but every day there's a reminder, what are you grateful for? And when I see that, I just think about what I'm grateful for. So it's having those little, because we tend to get out of those routines unless we're really, you know, and I'm not strict. I think you've got to have room for movement and change. So, but bringing it into the day at some stage. Nice practice. That's a great, that's a great tip actually. I love the gratitude jar. That's brilliant. Yeah, you can do it I remember I did it for a school holiday workshop at a vacation care, and the kids made it, and it was a present for the family for Christmas. So I went in and ran the workshop, and then they took their little gratitude, we called it a family gratitude jar, and they it was a Christmas present for the family, so they could all write in it. That's brilliant. That's really lovely. So what other classes, what do you do in your classes that you run for women? So at the moment I'm just teaching, I finished because I'm on holidays now, so I've just been I do a couple of yoga classes on the Sunshine Coast, and through a yoga studio, and we have a women's shed at Coolum, which is great, absolutely amazing, and I teach the yoga there. And I've got a girls group, I call it the Mindful Girls Group, and they're from 10, and they just love it. So I've got 10, 12 and some 13-year-olds. And it started out, I did it years ago, and then I decided that I'd do it for the older girls, because I find that as we get to that 12, 13, they tend to want to go, yoga not cool anymore, but So what I do, I bring, like, we do a bit of yoga and we do meditation, but the last workshop was all about, 1 week was about self-love, self-care, and they love crystals. So it ended up being a bit of just a crystals workshop in the end, where they brought all their crystals in and they shared them and we talked about them. And so next term, or in term 1, I'm going to run a group with them and we're going to do the chakras. So there are energy centers, that the 7 that run through the body, and each chakra is a color which is associated with the crystal. So they're very excited about that. So, and we do that. So there's always a theme behind the each class.
Yes.
That they're learning a tool. So I love that group. And then I will start my Art of Feminine Presence. So I'm going to be offering a online program. So it'll be a 12-week program, I think, at this stage, that will incorporate yoga, meditation, and an Art of Feminine practice each week. So there'll be like a Zoom meeting where we can catch up online, and then they'll have some practices through that week. So they'll have a little yoga flow, a meditation, and then their Art of Feminine Presence practice. So then each week we'll do a Zoom meeting to catch up and go through the practice and, see how their week has gone. So it'll be still empowering that they can do it on their own, but also having that meet up, through the week, just to touch base, because the practices are really good to be witnessed. So
yes,
and then I'm also going to run, probably similar to like a circle. You run that's what I started at when I was at the meditation college. I used to run a meditation weekly class, so I'll probably link it with the feminine presence, and I also do one-on-one sessions. So I do those with kids that are struggling with, like what we talked about, my sons, so that are struggling with anxiety. So this year I also did some training called Calm Coach, and it's calming tools to mindfully empower children. So I have done a lot this year, haven't I? And those tools are breath techniques for them. There's some restorative yoga and some art therapy. So that's, I've actually had quite a few children that have been on the spectrum. So I go into their home and offer them these tools, and then the parents can continue with them through the week. So, and I love the one-on-ones. I really enjoy that. And I also do one-on-ones with adults. So I'll do some workshops and, go and some birthday. What did I do the other day? I actually did a yoga class for a netball team. So end of season netball team, and so I do mobile stuff.
Yep. I've never heard of Calm
Coach. So it's just new. So it's my beautiful kids yoga teacher, Stacey Louise. So it's a new program she's put together by Calm Fairies. So she actually goes into the hospitals as a fairy. So like the clowns, but she offers and she offers the kids, and she so there's that opportunity to train as a Calm Fairy too, which I did have on my to-do list, but we'll see how this next year goes. So just help supporting children in that sort of hospital setting, and these tools are also the tools that I've learned to do in the homes, and you can I've run a couple of workshops. So Calm Coach. So it's a little bit of restorative yoga, and as I said, the breath and little powering tools for them, and a lot of that co-regulation stuff I talked about in the beginning, which is very, very important, and making the kids feel comfortable. So because some kids are overwhelmed in big group settings, so it's nice to have that one-on-one.
Oh, that sounds all really exciting. So if somebody listening to this wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
So I am rebranding. So I have a new business name, but that's not up. But I do have Balance and Flow Kids. So .com.au, and I will keep that website open. So obviously anyone can contact me through that. Yeah. And I'm also on Facebook, Balance and Flow Kids, as well as Simone Michelle Yoga, but I'm going to bring those two businesses together, because like I was saying, I want to bring them into all the offerings that I love, and yeah, to probably transition more into my women's, because that's where I'm headed now with my life, and it's all flowing and all changing. So, but obviously still keeping some of the, because I do love working with kids, and yeah, I do want to keep that little bit on the side. So nothing's changing at the moment, but that's the plan anyway. So yeah, still and on Instagram too. So Balance and Flow Kids or Simone Michelle Yoga on Instagram. Yeah, and I'm on the Sunshine Coast. So
but you're doing things
I'm
on
going to
Zoom as well.
Yeah, so very excited for
Good
that.
old Zoom.
Having the world change. It was interesting when I did that. I did the when our first lockdown came in, was in the middle of our term of yoga with I was teaching 5 to 7 age group. So we took it online, and that was so funny. Half the time I'd be like, are you still there? And they'd pop up, yep, still here. Half the time I couldn't see them. I'm like, okay, let's do this pose. Where are you? And this little head would pop up. I'm still here. And they're just rolling around on the ground or something. But it was so good for them to keep that connection, and they could all see each other. But I would have to mute them. And I remember one little boy, I can see him carrying the laptop around, and he's saying to his mum, she's muted me. She's muted me. Otherwise, you had them all talking at the same time. How amazing, but that they can all learn at that age, right? To be able to.
Oh yeah.
This technology. Yeah. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Zoom's become part of our life, hasn't it?
It certainly has, but it hasn't restricted us. So I can go to the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast, to Western Australia. And actual fact, I want to teach everybody, in America, in England. I want to be global.
Yes.
Because you're an inspiring woman here, but you can inspire women over in the US as well.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things we were talking about. Well, we didn't touch on this too, but sometimes it's scary to go big, isn't it? Whereas we tend to stay small, and the more we're open to receive, and we be receptive in our body, and then it's okay to be, big. It's it's interesting, isn't it? How sometimes we go, we just want to stay small like this, but yeah. So good, big, dream big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out there.
Yeah, I think the world has shrunk, where it used to be, such a huge amount of money to get over to the other side. And people never came here because, you can't have 2 weeks holiday and go to Australia because it's too far away. Where now it's like, whatever. Yeah. I can have friends, in Canada. I can have friends in all sorts of different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that, because one of my dreams also, I've always thought I would love to buy a camper van and with my dog go traveling around Australia, and with these new courses that I'm planning, I can still do that and pull up somewhere and
yes.
And I thought I could teach yoga in the caravan parks as well. So to have that, because I think it's still important to have that physical contact as well, especially as a teacher. Yeah, it's nice to have someone physically there, but it's so great that we can do it for everyone.
Yes.
The people that are in our area. So so that's one of my big dreams, to get the camper van and the dog and off we go.
Yeah. I hear you, because I was thinking that maybe I could travel around the world and meet women, interview them on my podcast.
Yes, amazing. And how interesting to get different cultures and have that same, to see what's similar and what's different. Yeah. Dream big. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as women we can dream bigger than we've ever allowed ourselves to before.
And to be seen, isn't it? Yeah, seen and heard, and you've been able to stand up and use our voice, and we're definitely seeing a lot of that more. But so I love that saying, it's no one else's business what they think of us. And I think that's one of the tricks, isn't it, to be able to go out and not care what other people.
And I think, yeah,
yeah,
that comes with maturity too, I think.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good, you know, that's some of the topics I do cover with my girls in my mindful girls group too, you know, that it's that, you know, peer group pressure and that knowing that it's okay to love yourself. You know, I remember growing up and you'd be like, oh, you love yourself, whereas we should. Yeah, so you know, and especially girls, I think it's so important now, so much change. And so hopefully they'll take on everything I share, but they do love the crystals though. And then that's another healing, you know, tool they can use as well.
Yeah, they are beautiful though. I must admit, I'm surrounded by them.
As I said that, I picked this one up. So that, isn't that beautiful?
Oh, that is gorgeous.
That's a little citrine tower. So that's a crystal of abundance. I just picked it up, and I bought this beautiful one. Have a look. It's gorgeous. It's a little angel.
Ah.
So that's fluoride, I think it's pronounced, and it's help get rid of negative. Look, it matches my top. Help get rid of negativity. Yes, I love crystals. They help there, perfect. It's all little tools, isn't it? It's having little, and then I have little affirmations. So these are great too. I don't know, that's going to be the opposite way, isn't it? So it says I'm abundant.
No, it's perfect.
You can see it the right way. So when I look at it, I can see it. And these are actually ones from workshops that I've done with the kids, but I've just got them sitting on my desk. And even those little things for women, I think I've got another one. Important to have those, you know, just little things sitting around. This one's and this one. I'm happy. So how simple are they? They're just sitting on my desk, you know, and a lot of the time with affirmations like that, they catch our eye, but it's going straight in there rather than we mightn't even read it. So I remember doing an affirmation at the meditation college I worked with, and it was a door. So as you walked in, so you could do it on the back of your door, and I just covered it, like I printed them all out, and it was all I am, like and then it was interesting which ones caught your eye on the day, like when you would come in. So that's always a nice little, if anyone needs that, you know, a little bit more self-love and care.
I must admit, on my window here, I've got I am bubbly and effervescent.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's written. There's chalk that you can get to write on windows.
They're good for mirrors too, right on the mirror.
Yes.
Oh, good. Nice. I love that. Effervescent. Lovely. And you are too.
Well, that's what I used to think about myself as a teenager, sort of. You know, I loved it when I was really being bright and bubbly and effervescent. You know, I felt good about me. Yeah. And I felt like for a lot of years that just sort of, you know, the effervescence just died down.
Flat.
I was flat. Exactly. And speaking to one of my coaches, she said, so how do you want to be? And I said, I want to be like I was when I was young. I want to be bubbly and I want to be effervescent. And she said, good, you know, put it somewhere. And I went, yep, I'm writing it on my window.
That's so, and isn't that just exactly what we're talking about, you know, going into the roles and losing like who we were. Because we're so it'd be good to. And then it's good to recognize that then this is how, and like what we're saying, that how do I want to feel like, so. And then it helps to bring everything else in, isn't it? Rather than being, well, you know, when we're in that energy, whether either in love or fear. So love and then higher. So, and then we're on that higher vibration. Whereas if we're on fear, which is low vibration, there's that blah and that blah, and then we attract those, you know, negative people, situations. I used to use that a lot as an affirmation to myself when my son was having his meltdowns and I was like trying to stay calm. I'd be saying in my mind, come from love, come from love, come from love, come from love. And that sort of helped me come from that place of love rather than get into craziness like he was. Not letting them pull. One of my son's grade 1 teacher said, don't let him pull you into his forest. So, and I've always stuck with me, because he was in that forest of darkness and anxiety, and if we get pulled in, we're in there too. So we have to be able to stay out, and help them to come out of it.
Yes.
Well, anyone's forest, really, isn't it? Anyone that's in that negativity, and help to bring them out of it too. Come from love, and look at your love hearts in your background.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Well,
come out of that. Stay in love.
Exactly.
Offer self first. So I say it to my yoga ladies. I said we have to love ourselves first before anyone will love us. We forget that.
We do.
Mm.
And you're right. When we're kids, or when I was a kid, she loves herself. And what a bad thing that was. Oh, no, I don't love myself. Oh, no. And you're thinking, but a part of me does, like me. Is that all right? No.
Yeah, remember that? She loves herself. And that's what I said to the girls in the group. I said, and it's okay to love yourself. Like, you obviously, come from a good place in your heart, to be able to love yourself rather than and it's that not taking on what anyone else says, but very hard as teenagers, isn't it? Harder now, I think, than when we were too. They need more guidance to bring that. And I think that's what would be great with the art of feminine presence stuff. I can even bring some of the little, some of the little practices in, and they'll be going, they're that sort of pre-teenage, which is good for them to start learning. Even the energy stuff, being able to stay in their own energy, not take on other people's. So another lesson, isn't it?
Absolutely. So if there was one bit of wisdom that you would like to give other women, what do you reckon that would be? I know I've just put you in the spot.
Listen to your heart. And I always talk about in yoga, drop out of the head and into the heart. So even holding the hand, even just holding the hand on the heart allows us to drop out of the head and into the heart. And the mind, we were given a mind to help us plan and manifest, but the mind takes over so much, whereas we were given the heart to feel, and to the heart even has a brain in it called the heart brain. It's actually a tiny little brain that's shaped like our brain. So the heart, and then there's the gut brain too. But I think listen to your heart, which I don't think I did for quite a while, as we were saying, too busy with everyone else. So that's one thing I do in the morning in my meditation, is really even just as soon as you put your hand on your heart, it helps you to drop there, and opening that heart to receive, because we tend to close it off a lot. So so listen to your heart and follow that guidance, which can be scary sometimes, what we were saying. But one of my favorite affirmations is, it always works out. It always works out.
Very true.
Or this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Mightn't work out how we thought, but it always works out. And sometimes better than what we thought.
Absolutely. That's really good wisdom.
Thank you.
That's really good wisdom. Thank you for spending the afternoon with us.
That was lovely.
Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. I know that you will have inspired so many other women, and that's just amazing.
Thanks, Lorraine.
So thank you. And if anyone wants to get in contact with you, it's best to go through the website, which is
www.balanceandflowkids, so all one word, .com.au. I sound like I'm on a station now. Yeah, so all the and that website will stay open even when so my new website or my new business name will be called Balance and Flow for Life. So because I'm still doing the kids, so it's like Balance and Flow, the number 4 for life, because 4 is one of my sort of favorite numbers. And it's sort of like that. It's for life. It's for the young, the older, for life, and it'll be all tools for life. So it all, yeah. So yeah, because I love balance and flow. Balance and flow for life. But Balance and Flow Kids will still stay there as well, because my daycare goes through there.
So balance and flow number 4 life.
Yeah,
with Zoom courses that anyone can be anywhere in the world.
Yes.
And contact you.
Yes, and I'll be in my camper van with my dog. In the Airlie Beach or Cairns or somewhere. You never know. You got to live it big, don't you? Live and dream big.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you live in the most beautiful place on the planet anyhow.
I know. I could just go down to the beach with that, couldn't I? With my laptop. Yeah. Or in my little office here, just a special.
Well, thank you for today. And pleasure. Thank you for sharing everything with everybody.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And she can edit that from there.